talk in small groups over there in a few minutes about individual issues or community issues, but I just want to share my observations very briefly about where the country's been in the last few months and where it's going. I think everybody in this room has felt some drop in their personal wealth. None of us are wealthy. We wish we were. None of us are wealthy, unfortunately. But we saw our house price drop rather than rise. Rise to challenges. We beat the British twice when they attacked us on our own soil in the 1770s and again in the 1810s. We fought a war against our own people in the South to remain one united country. We beat the Nazis and the Kaiser and the Soviet Union. We're beating global terrorists that don't believe in what we believe. We always rise to challenges, economic or military or otherwise, and we'll do that again now. Even though this is probably the most difficult economic time since before any of us were born. Maybe there might be a couple people in this room, I don't think so, who were alive in the Depression. But this is the first time where banks have failed in such a massive way, where credit markets have stopped, where people who want credit can't get credit. Prices have bottomed out in much of the country, not in some places in the country where they're really still going down, but in our area that has not been hit as hard as other parts of the country, as we think it is for us right here. We're starting to see encouraging signs where business is picking up, where small businesses in the county are doing what they do well and starting to sell things more and hire people back they had to lay off a few months ago. So all in all, it's getting better. I wish it were better yesterday, but we're seeing encouraging signs. So that was my whole long speech, and I'm happy to go over there and talk with you in small groups for individuals about small problems, about municipal problems, about county problems, about state problems, about national problems. Beyond international, I'm not going to talk. So if you got any intergalactic problems, this is not it, okay? I'll go international or within that. But thank you for coming today, and I'm sorry if I've interrupted any people reading over there. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, bye.
Thank you. We're members of a grassroots organization called the Campaign for Liberty. Campaign for Liberty is a political action committee that is dedicated to restoring limited constitutional government, individual liberty, sound market, free markets, sound money, and getting back to a non-interventionist foreign policy. Essentially, it's the vision of our founding fathers. And one of the things on the forefront of the agenda for Campaign for Liberty this year is a piece of legislation, HR1207. Are you familiar with that bill? You are a member of the House Financial Services Committee? It is presently in committee. And as of yesterday, it had 112 co-sponsors in the House. Now this bill, what it's calling for, it's a very short bill, but what it's calling for is an unprecedented audit of the private Federal Reserve System.
The private Federal Reserve or the Federal Reserve?
Well, the Federal Reserve System, as it currently is. There are certainly currently some protections under the law that prevent us from having full access and full transparency. And I know that President Obama, one of the things that he ran on was a campaign of having transparency in government. So this piece of legislation will remove some of those veils, some of those curtains that are preventing us from finding out where trillions of dollars have gone. So my question is very simply, as a member of the House Financial Services Committee, and many of your co-members are presently sponsoring this bill, and there's the list of the co-sponsors within this Financial Services Committee. It's this, I like to refer to this cordially as the show us the money bill, right? Are you willing to help your constituents find out where their tax dollars are being spent and how the Federal Reserve System, presently protected under certain veils, where the dollars are going? Are you willing to do that?
I don't know what the bill does. I've heard your description of what the bill does.
Okay.
And I've learned from a couple times in government, but I should actually read bills and talk about what bills with people who are for them and against them and get a sense of them.
Okay.
And so while what you say makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a worthy thing for us to know what the Federal Reserve does and how it reaches its conclusions.
Sure.
It affects markets, it affects our form of government, it affects our capitalism.
Well, it has complete control of our monetary system.
That's right. And I think my wife has complete control of my monetary system.
Thank you. Ben Bernanke recently testified when he was questioned whether or not he would allow transparency, and actually it was Bernie Sanders asked him, Michelle Bachmann also questioned him under oath, and he gave a flat-out no, that he was not willing to reveal where some of these TARP funds had been allocated and how they had been used. The companion bill in the House was introduced by Bernie Sanders. So here you have an independent who's an admitted socialist, also in favor of it. This has broad bipartisan support. This is not a Democratic issue.
No, I hear it. I saw one of the guys in the committee.
Yeah,
Democrats.
I mean, you've got friends in Congress that are all in favor of this, and
I'm not trying to quibble with you.
Oh no,
it sounds
no,
like it makes sense. I just because I haven't read it, I don't want to say, and then find out that it.
Well, we
understand
understand that, but to come off to make just a glib comment that my wife is really in charge of my mind.
No, I understand the complex power of the Federal Reserve.
Okay,
thank you.
I do.
Okay. I had an opportunity.
And I'm concerned,
Mr.
as
Bernanke
Rob described the answer from Mr. Bernanke to whoever asked the question, that's not the appropriate answer.
It isn't, because they set interest rates, not the market. They set the amount of, we don't learn what M3 is anymore. We don't see how much money they create, how much they roll the printing press. Do we understand that? Inflation is not the price on the shelf. Inflation is created at the Federal Reserve.
Inflation is basically it's the expansion of the money supply. And Ben Bernanke also testified under oath last year. I don't know if you're aware that inflation is a tax. He testified to that under oath, that inflation is a tax because they have control of it.
And the middle class.
Well,
because what they do is it destroys our purchasing power of our dollar.
My mission is very simple.
That's why housing prices go up and down. Not because, it's a great investment. It is in this bubble that we've experienced, that where those housing prices rose, was a result of the Federal Reserve action. Now, I will back away.
It's a substantial part. It wasn't just that it was Fannie Mae.
There's a lot of factors. My mission is simply, as with Campaign for Liberty, one of our objectives is to help educate people. And in sharing the basics on this piece of legislation with some of your constituents today, I have collected a number of signatures. These are petitions. Now, this is a small group representative of your concerned and informed constituency. Out of this group of 30 or so people that showed up, in the limited time that I had to introduce it and let them read the fact sheet on their own, answer any questions that they had, I collected approximately 20 petitions.
That's a very telling comment about the smaller crowd that had that many people.
I'm presenting these petitions to you today, again, to stress the need and the urgency for you to co-sponsor this. We don't want you to just support it and say, hey, when it comes out of committee. You're in a great position of power and authority within the Financial Services Committee to lead and to, as a co-sponsor, to make this happen for the American public. And here are the petitions. I want to thank you for your time.
And your advocacy is helpful. I appreciate your telling.
Listen, this is about restoring constitutional limit.
I hear it.
You have a resource on the Financial Services Committee. His name is Ron Paul. And this man, if you have a conversation with Ron, ask him all the questions you have, it would really expand and really help your constituency that you would have that knowledge. And if you would, I'll give you 2 gifts.
No, I think yes.
Well, these are books. This is Ron Paul's book, and this is Economics in One Lesson. It's a different viewpoint than the economists that you've been talking to in Washington, D.C. We don't blame the free market. We don't blame capitalism.
You like capitalism?
Well, I certainly
As a small business owner, the definition of capitalism is when individuals own the capital. When governments own the capital,
It's not entirely. It's also
when government owns the capital, now you're talking about fascism. When government has control of private entities and corporations, that's nationalization or fascism. 2 distinctly different situations, and we're sliding down a slippery slope where we just don't want to go. And I think as a business owner, you understand
Tell
that.
me you're going to be quick.
I know, it's tough. John, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's hope you co-sponsor it.
Thank you. We would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Congressman,
Thank you.
How are you?
Sharon, thank you. Oh, I know you had to go.
There's somebody